Here's your wrestling news for November 8th, 2022. And we're kicking off today with Raw, as Austin Theory finally cashed in his Money in the Bank contract. Theory's cash-in had been long anticipated by fans, but we don't think anyone could predict how it would go down. After Seth Rollins issued an open challenge, the US champion was demolished by Bobby Lashley, but their match never officially got started. As WWE officials forced Lashley to the back, Theory came out to cash in, but later on, he too would be demolished by the Almighty. Theory would barely avoid being counted out, only to be hit by a curb stomp, and now the cocky heel joins the short list of people to cash in and not become champion. This also marked the first time that the men's Money in the Bank hasn't been cashed in on a world champion, which probably was for the best, given that nobody believed Theory would be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. So what does this mean? Well, for one, it's clear that the new regime is not as sold on Theory as Vince McMahon and are undoing some of the former CEO's booking. It is surprising, as Theory is incredibly young and has enough charisma to be a main event player already, and it feels like this has been Triple H's biggest misstep since rising to power. Theory has age, charisma, and in-ring skill on his side, but his management? Only time will tell. We also saw Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair on last night's show, who officially laid out the challenge against Damage Control for War Games. Belair, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, and two more partners will face Damage Control, Nikki Cross, and a mystery partner at Survivor Series, but WWE may have already teased Belair's next title match. Backstage, there was a tense moment between Belair and Rhea Ripley, and the two are yet to have a title match on the main roster. Sure, they did face off in a gauntlet match earlier this year, but the two popular superstars are yet to have a proper feud on Raw, but expect that to change in due time. Since Triple H took over as head of talent relations, the game has brought back a ton of superstars, with Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, and Karrion Kross all returning. For the women's side, Candice LeRae, Emma, and Dakota Kai have all been brought back, but fans can expect the female division to grow even more. Fightful Select reports that right now, WWE is focusing on restocking their women's division with experienced female talent who will be immediately ready for TV on the main roster. It was reported yesterday that Chelsea Green is a name WWE is interested in, but she's yet to be contacted by WWE and has bookings through March 2023. Tegan Nox is also a name that WWE is considering bringing back, but they should hurry, as AEW Interim Women's World Champion Toni Storm has said she hopes Nox signs with Tony Khan. WWE already has an impressive women's division, but it's expected to grow very soon, and who would you like to see make a return to WWE? Let us know in the comments. Earlier this week, Braun Strowman stirred up some controversy with his comments on social media, in which he mocked indie wrestling and smaller, high-flying wrestlers. Strowman would later backtrack on his comments, saying that he has mad respect for every wrestler out there, and that his comments were just a joke, but the damage may have already been done. When Ringside News asked around, they were told Strowman has a lot of heat backstage, and not just for his recent comments. Strowman has also reportedly been late for shows, and has been leaving early, a huge sign of disrespect in wrestling, and one source said that some are questioning if he's serious about this run. A former Universal Champion, Strowman was making over $1 million a year during his first run with WWE, and even back then, he was known for jeopardizing himself with some of his comments and actions. Now Braun is back, but if he doesn't improve, then it may be a matter of time before he's back wrestling in bars to 15 people like he was doing for Control Your Narrative. More from Raw now, as for the past month, the OC has feuded with the Judgment Day, and Rhea Ripley has proven to be a difference maker. The former Raw Women's Champion has been interfering in matches to give her Judgment Day teammates the advantage, but now the OC has some backup of their own. During Raw, Mia Yim made her return to WWE and was described as OC's answer to the Rhea Ripley problem. Yim certainly lived up to that hype, as the first thing she did was take out Ripley with a kendo stick, and she and the OC then stood tall in the ring. The former Reckoning, Yim was released in November 2021 and spent 5 months with Impact Wrestling before wrapping up with the company at last month's Bound for Glory. As soon as she finished with Impact, it was reported that WWE wanted her back, and we'll have to see how she does now under the new regime and as the answer to Rhea Ripley. Since returning to TV last month, Nikki Cross has been on the warpath, and that continued on last night's episode of Raw. On the show, Damage Control were in Cross's corner as she faced 24/7 champion Dana Brooke and had a ringside seat for Nikki's title win. This marks Cross's 10th reign as 24/7 champion overall, but it may be her last and may indeed be the final 24/7 title reign for anyone ever. In a backstage segment, Cross and Damage Control could be seen walking backstage, and Cross threw the 24/7 title in the trash. Well, to be more specific, she threw it next to the trash in a hilarious botch, but it's clear what she was aiming for, and this could be WWE's way of retiring the title. After Triple H came to power, some speculated that the title would be scrapped given how little it was being featured on TV, and it now looks like Nikki Cross is the final ever WWE 24/7 champion. Now, during the infamous AEW All Out Media Scrum, CM Punk had some harsh words for his former best friend Colt Cabana, insulting him and saying he shares a bank account with his mother. When Punk arrived in AEW, it wasn't long after that Cabana disappeared from Dynamite and Rampage, and the popular theory was that Punk had forced Tony Khan to pull Colt from TV. Speaking on the Keepin' It 100 podcast, Conan spoke about his interactions with Cabana in AEW and claimed Colt thought he'd lose his job when CM Punk was hired. When I saw Colt Cabana backstage, I remember asking him, "So what's up with you now that Punk is back?" He was like, "Yeah man, we're not really talking." I go, "Come on dude, after all these years you guys were boys." He said, "Yeah man, he just won't talk to me." He would just kind of look around like he knew he would get fired. When I look back, he knew that he was probably going to get the axe from Punk somehow, or Tony did it to make Punk happy. Cabana recently returned to AEW Dynamite to challenge ROH World Champion Chris Jericho, but it's believed that this was a one-off appearance and that he's still part of the ROH roster. With Punk seemingly gone from AEW, Cabana shouldn't have to worry about being fired anymore, but it just goes to show how toxic things are between the two former best friends. Punk's comments during the media scrum, as well as the backstage fight afterwards, has led many to think he'll soon be released by the company. There have been no signs that Punk will return, and AEW has reportedly been negotiating a buyout of his contract, but Billy Corgan isn't convinced just yet. Sitting down with Steve Fall, Corgan was asked about the Punk situation and isn't counting on the former world champion being a free agent. "I'd be surprised if he leaves AEW. I've heard those rumors too, but I just imagine that it would be worked out." Corgan added that whether fans will admit it or not, Punk has been a huge benefit to AEW, and similarly, AEW has helped Punk by bringing him back to wrestling. When asked if NWA could make a play for Punk should he become a free agent, Corgan politely declined, saying he imagines other companies would be able to make a far better offer than he. With reports that Punk has caught the wrestling bug, a departure from AEW may not be the end of his in-ring career, but according to Corgan, Punk may not be going anywhere at all. And we're ending with Vince McMahon, whose 4 decades on top of the wrestling world came to an end in July following accusations of misconduct with female employees. Since then, the former CEO of WWE hasn't been seen much in public, but he did make a rare outing this week. On Reddit, a fan shared an image of McMahon dining at a New York City restaurant, which the fan described as a surreal scene. McMahon wasn't alone in the Big Apple as he dined with a currently unknown woman, who certainly wasn't his wife Linda. Many people thought that McMahon would never lose his role in WWE, and the idea of the workaholic Vince being retired is still strange, but the former CEO is now having to navigate life away from wrestling. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.